Let's talk about LinkedIn. All right. I write a lot about LinkedIn. I work with a lot of clients around LinkedIn, especially clients who are trying to reach high level B2B customers. And I find in working with clients and working with folks who are in my space that there are three LinkedIn mistakes that keep you invisible. So you're on LinkedIn, you're putting in the effort, but clients aren't coming. And here's why. And it's a much faster fix than you think. We are in a virtual classroom right now, so I do want you to raise your hands. Even though I can't see you, you can see yourself. I want you to answer this very, very honestly. How many of you are on LinkedIn but haven't gotten a single client from it? Did you raise your hand? Did you kind of go, yeah, that's me? Listen, you're not alone. And here's the thing, it's almost never because LinkedIn doesn't work. It's because of one of three simple things is off, or maybe all three are off. But once you know what they are, the fix is super straightforward. Let's get into it. But I want to set the scene here, okay? There's a myth that LinkedIn is complicated, that you need to post constantly, you need to go viral, or you need to have thousands of followers to get clients. The reality is, LinkedIn is actually quite simple, but most people are using it in a way that keeps them completely invisible to their ideal clients. It's not about doing more and being active and spinning on the gerbil wheel. It's about doing the right things consistently and intentionally. Okay, get your notebooks out. I want you to write some things down. I want you to think about your profile. The biggest mistake I see is that you're making your profile about you. Most LinkedIn profiles that I see read like a resume. There's a job title, there's years of experience, there's a list of past roles and responsibilities. The problem is that your ideal client doesn't really care about your background first. I mean, they care about your background, but what they really care about is how you can help them. So let's start with your headline and why it's so important. One of the things that's really important about your headline, and just to review, your headline is that little piece of information right below your name. So if you go to a LinkedIn profile, you see the profile picture and then you see the headline. When you go and reach out on LinkedIn with connection requests, the only thing people see on those connection requests is your face and that headline. That headline tells them who you are, who you serve, and what you do. And if you don't nail that headline, you're not going to get connected at all. You're going to get connected with people, but not with the right people. So here's some examples of a week headline, and these are drawn. Like I cut and pasted these, so not to pick on anybody. If yours looks like this, hey, you're watching this to fix it, right? So here's an example: business consultant, 10 plus years experience. Okay, that tells the reader about you. It says nothing about what they'll get or whether you're the right fit. Another version that would be kind of weak, and I see things like this all the time. I help six-figure business owners generate high-quality inbound leads and convert them into premium clients using my proven LinkedIn framework. Okay, the ton of buzzwords. You get an A+ for buzzwords if this is what your looks like. But six-figure, high-quality, premium, proven framework. That signals marketing speak rather than a real human who actually understands your problem. So that's how you want to talk to people. Here's some stronger examples. These aren't perfect. Like, someone can pick these apart. I get that. But they're stronger, and you can always fine tune these things. You can change your headline very quickly. So, booked calls without the hustle. I help business owners attract clients by being genuinely, strategically human on LinkedIn. Okay, this speaks directly to a pain point. The reader immediately knows that this person's for me. I want to book calls. I don't want the hustle. I want to attract clients. I want to be genuine. I want to be strategic. I want to be human on LinkedIn. If I'm reading this, then I'm understanding that this person who's reaching out to me is a really good fit for me. Here's another version. This is actually what I have on my LinkedIn headline right now, and I'll tell you why I have it on there right now. And I change my headline around quite often. But this one, I'm getting actually really, I had actually 2 or 3 people compliment me on my headline when I got on calls with them. So, CEO and founder, okay, that's who I am, right? And then here's what I do: I write about what actually works on LinkedIn, and then real conversations greater than funnels. Now, here's what's interesting, and here's why I chose this particular headline. I do more than just writing about what actually works on LinkedIn. I work with people and I help them build incredible, like my proven LinkedIn framework. We have a proven LinkedIn framework that we use. But I think when I do that, when I send out a connection request to someone, they see me as a marketer, not as a strategic partner. So what I'm trying to do here is set me up as more of a strategic partner, because that's how we work with people. We don't have clients, we have partnerships. And so when I'm reaching out to someone, it's because I want that connection. I want them in my network. I want to get to know them. Maybe they turn into a prospect or a client. Maybe they turn into a strategic partner. Maybe they just turn into a network person. Sometimes they just turn into a friend. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is about, for me, that genuine connection. And again, real conversations. I had 2 people book discovery calls from me using my LinkedIn link based on just a quick outreach that I did. There, no pitch. There wasn't any sales, pitch to them. I just was, connecting with them. And they saw some of my content and reached out to me. That's how we do this. And so this headline kind of is designed to break down that barrier, that hesitation that people have when they get a connection request from someone they may not know. So people get to know me a little bit and they understand that I'm not here to market them, I'm here to connect with them. But it also tells them a little bit about what I do, right? Okay. Basically if your profile isn't crystal clear, nothing else that you do on LinkedIn is going to work well. Now, there's more to your profile than the headline, but I wanted to spend specific time on the headline. I could teach a whole course about this. Oh, in fact, I have. So if you want an entire course on LinkedIn and how to do this, this is just a quick crash course. This is just a quick one video on here's the 3 things that you can fix to resonate more on LinkedIn. But on this part, I'm going to talk about your profile in general. Again, every word on your LinkedIn profile should answer a single question that your ideal client is silently asking. Maybe not so silently. Maybe they're frustrated on LinkedIn and they're saying this out loud. But is this person for me? Is this a person that I want to connect with? And so we talked about the headline. Lead with outcome, not your title. Write for one person, not everyone. Avoid buzzwords and marketing speak like we talked about. Make it human, make it specific, and make it, that it'll have someone stop their scrolling. Like it's worth it for them to read like, oh, what is this? This is different, right? And so that's what your headline should do. It is like a headline. It's like a newspaper headline or a news headline, like breaking news. It should get someone to stop and go, huh, okay, your about section. That's the kind of narrative that goes pretty much underneath that headline. And this is where I see a lot of people, again, they write it like it's a resume. And they write about me, myself, and I. And I really want you to start with your ideal client. I want you to talk to them and address them. And so, for example, on my about section, I say something like, you didn't start this business to get into marketing, but here you are. And then I talk about, the pain points that business owners and founders feel when they're faced with that reality of they need to do marketing. And so I'm going to start with their problem. I'm not going to talk about me as much. I'm certainly not going to talk about my problems, but I'm not going to talk about me as much. It's going to be a lot of you statements instead of a lot of I, me, my statements. And you want to show them that you understand their world, that you share their perspective, that you have a certain approach that they're going to either resonate with or not. If they don't resonate with it, that's okay. That's not your ideal client. But if they read that and say, that sounds like me, that sounds like someone I would want to work with, perfect. And you just want to add enough proof to be credible. Talk about how you helped a client get from A to B. Not a ton. This isn't a testimonial dump here. And then end with one easy next step. Click on my booking link above, give me a call, send me a DM, whatever it is. Just one quick next step. Don't send them to a website. Don't send them to a funnel. Something that they can stay in LinkedIn and do. That's how I got those bookings. Like I said, they just went to my booking link on LinkedIn right under my face in LinkedIn. Your featured section is below the about section, and it shows different posts. And you don't want to just pin your latest post. You want to be strategic about this. Well, I have to talk about that noise. I am on my boat. I have a small boat in Long Beach, and I like to come here sometimes to record because it's so quiet. Except when the Queen Mary, that is docked not too far from here, does her horn blowing. So anyway, that's what you heard, was this historic boat docked in Long Beach, the Queen Mary, blowing her horn. So there you go. A little bit about my life. Anyway, in your featured section, don't just pin your latest post. Show a real client result or a testimonial. Give a demonstration of how you think, what your perspective is, what your outlook is. It has to be very authentic. Include a clear, low friction next step in those featured links again. And then also treat it like a storefront window. This is people walking by, kind of looking in, what's going on in there. So show them who you are and show them what you do and show them how you help. And then recommendations. Getting recommendations from people, getting testimonials from your clients, people that you've worked with, strategic partners, whoever. Relevance matters much more than volume. So don't be collecting recommendations and testimonials, but ask for things that show how you've helped transform a client's business. Not just praise. Choose people in your client list that your clients can relate to, that you're going to attract more of those clients, and guide them towards specific outcomes, right? One great, testimonial or recommendation beats 10 really generic ones. Okay, mistake number 1 was a big one, right? That's huge. These are a little bit more simple. Mistake number 2, you're posting, but you're not engaging. So a lot of people think LinkedIn equals posting. Post. Put up content, get clients. Like just shovel out content and shovel in clients. But that really does not work. Posting alone rarely works, especially if you're just starting out or you have a small audience. So this might be you. You spend 30 minutes crafting the perfect post and you get a few likes, maybe a handful of reactions from existing connections. Maybe those connections aren't even your audience. Like maybe it's your aunt, maybe it's your dad. My dad loves to like my posts. The connections though, like the content needs to resonate with your connections, and your connection needs to be your audience. Yeah, sure, I've got a couple relatives and friends in there as my connections, but the vast majority of my connections are people that I want to work with, people who I can serve, people who can connect me to potential clients or prospects. Again, strategic partners, potential prospects and clients, people who are kind of doing what I'm doing. And so your connections need to be high quality. So if you're just getting a few likes, and even if you're getting a lot of likes, but they're not from your real audience, like from who you really, really want to talk to, who you really want to connect with, it's not going to help you that much. So you don't get any new followers, you don't get any DMs, you don't get any new clients. So the way to fix this is comments. Comments drive visibility. When you leave a thoughtful comment on a post from your ideal client or someone that your ideal client might be reading, the entire network sees your name and your insight, your expertise, your personality, everything. Please don't use AI to comment. It's going to really dilute your brand. It's going to really dilute your voice. I would rather have you make 1, 2, or 3 comments a day a week that are really targeted, that are really thoughtful, that kind of bring forth your personality, what you do, and how you help people. So here's what a good comment looks like. Not every comment is going to move that needle for you. Great post will get you ignored, but a comment that adds real insight, that gets you noticed by the right people. So this is exactly what I see with small business owners trying to grow without a clear offer. When you nail this first, everything clicks into place. That's a comment that's going to move the needle. Okay, so if I see a post and that's the comment I make, and that is a comment that I made, that is going to, as people are looking at the post and they're looking at that comment, I actually had someone reach out to me when I commented this exact comment, and they wrote, "I've been looking for someone like you," from a comment. Okay, it wasn't even someone that I was actively reaching out to. Okay, so skip things like saying, "Oh, great post, so true, totally agree." That empty filler adds no value. What you want to do instead is add a specific insight, a short story, or a relevant question that sparks conversation. The best comments have a point of view, not just praise. So it shows that you actually understood the post. It brings in a real example, not generic, "Oh, yeah, I agree." They say something a little sharper than what everyone else is saying. These are actual comments that I've made. We spent a week fixing a client's offer before touching their LinkedIn. Profile views went up 40% after, but that wasn't the win. The win was that they finally knew what to say when someone asked what they do. The profile just reflected that clarity. Here's another example of a comment that I've left on a post. The follow-up isn't the problem. The connection request is. If you're connecting with people you have nothing real to say to, no follow-up script will save it. And this was a comment talking about a post that was talking about reaching out to people and connecting with people, and then you had to follow up. No one follows up. I'm like, well, the follow-up isn't exactly the problem. It's the connection request. So yeah, you can do follow-up, and you can even template it. I don't recommend that, but sometimes they need to see 3 or 4 responses from you before they respond back, and then you jump in as a human. So there's nothing wrong with templated. There's nothing wrong with automations. It's just how you're writing it, who you're connecting to, and what the connection is about. Here's another one that I wrote. Providing value is the most valueless piece of advice on LinkedIn. What actually works is having a point of view, even an uncomfortable one. Value without perspective, it's just noise. So you can kind of see who I am, what I stand for, what my opinions are. And it's not just a simple, yeah, I agree, or I'm not sure about that. So that's the kind of commenting that I'm talking about. The strongest comments usually cannot be AI generated. They come from real experience, real opinions, a real perspective. If it could have been written by anyone, it won't stand out. So remember, your comments actually get you seen way more than your posts, because what happens is when you have a good comment, people check you out. You'll see profile views showing up from your comments. Mistake number 3, this kind of overlaps with what we just talked about, but bear with me, is you connect, but you don't start the conversation. This one I think is the most common, and it's the most fixable. People send a connection request, it gets accepted, and then crickets, silence. Or worse, they immediately pitch their services. Both approaches kill any momentum before it even starts. So there's 2 traps. It's the follow-up, just like we talked about, that you connected, that's it, the relationship never starts. Again, the follow-up is important. You don't want to ignore it, but first make sure you're connecting with the right people, make sure that they understand who you are, and then do a follow-up, but make sure that it's not falling into these traps. And we'll talk about what a good conversation starter looks like. And then the second thing I see all the time, I'm sure you see it too, you get this little, "Hey, I'm in Southern California too, and I want to connect with business owners." And you say, "Oh, okay, cool. I like to connect with business owners in my local area as well." And then they immediately send you a pitch. I call it pitch slapping. And I have an article on it in LinkedIn. I'll show it to you in a second. So don't follow up with a sales message. They're going to feel used and they're going to disengage. Here's the article. You can kind of see it down here. That it's just not cool, right? And it's this thing that people complain about on LinkedIn, that we're all getting pitch slapped. So don't do it. The fix is start human, start a conversation. Now, I want you to look at the 3 examples here, and you'll see how I actually have some things crossed out, because these are follow-ups that I've seen, and I think they start out good, but then they just go downhill and they kind of slide into pitchy. They slide into salesy. They kind of slide into inauthentic. It makes it feel like you're not really interested in this person. So here's an example. John, that post about hiring really hit home. We went through something similar last year. And then here's the pitchy part that I see all the time. Curious, what's been working for you? Don't try to trick someone into responding. You don't have to ask a question to garner a reply. So just right here, that post about hiring really hit home. We went through something similar last year, period. It's highly likely that John will reply to me, and then we can start a conversation and see where it goes. Another one that came through. Saw your post and it stuck with me. That's a tough one. I would get more specific on the post. I would say, saw your post about hiring or whatever, and it stuck with me. That's a tough one. Same thing. Instead of saying, how are you navigating it? They probably talked about it. They probably have addressed it somewhere else in their content or in their posts or in their comments. So just do a period. We don't have to kind of slide into this kind of pitchy salesy speak. Saw your post and it stuck with me. That's a tough one. And so see how that is just a natural conversation thing. And then here's this last one. I think this one is kind of on the line. I think you could argue that it's a good conversation starter. I think you could argue that maybe it gets a little pitchy and salesy, but I think it's all about, well, let's just read it. Your hiring post today, I felt that. Are you finding it's getting harder, or is it just me? It's pitchy if they haven't talked about this in their thing. It's pitchy if they've already addressed this. Yes, it's getting harder. It's not pitchy if they didn't really address this. So if this is a sincere, yeah, I'm finding it's harder. Is it just me, or are you finding the same thing? So what do you think on that one? Comment below and tell me what you think about this particular conversation starter. Pitchy or not pitchy? I think you can argue both. Anyway, the bottom line is you don't want to pitch. You don't want agenda. You want real human conversation that opens the door. It opens the door to more interactions, maybe an introduction to someone else. It just opens the door. This is what LinkedIn is designed for. And we're getting so far away from that on LinkedIn. We're getting into pitchy, sales, automations, AI. I met with a prospect the other day, and I knew I could never win him over. And frankly, it was like, oh, we don't align. We don't agree on how to do this. He showed me this whole big, automation, AI commenting on his behalf, AI writing messages, replies, this and that. Listen, there's a place for AI. I say this all the time. I use it every day. My team uses it every day. But when you're trying to make a connection and you're looking for high value clients, AI is not the way to go here. People can smell it. They don't like it. People are tired of it. They're wary of it. And it actually is driving people off of platforms like this. How you're really going to stand out is not by having polished comments and commenting 3 times a day via AI. We've got bots talking to bots now. Bots are writing articles. Bots are commenting. Bots are replying. I mean, it's just ridiculous. How you stand out is to be yourself, be human. Just put yourself out there. Don't use AI as a crutch. So let's put it all together. If LinkedIn isn't working for you right now, it's almost always coming down to one of these 3 things. The good news, every single one is fixable, and none of them require starting from scratch. Fix your profile, make it clear who you help and what outcome they get, not just who you are and what you do. Show your personality. You have a personality, show it, demonstrate it. Don't be afraid to use humor. Don't be afraid to use like funny things to say. I saw one LinkedIn profile and it said chief toast maker. And I just just loved that. It was just something silly, but it showed me that person's personality. Start engaging. Comment with real insights on posts from your ideal clients or posts that your ideal clients are likely to be reading. Visibility comes from conversations, not just that content. And start those conversations. Follow up with new connections in a simple human way. Again, no pitch, just curiosity. If you fix these 3 things, LinkedIn starts working very differently for you. Hey, do you want to know which one of these 3 things is holding you back? I have been doing short 20-minute LinkedIn profile reviews for years. I'll look at your profile and tell you exactly what I would fix first. Again, no pitch, just clarity on what's keeping you invisible and what to do about it. So what you'll get is a fresh set of these eyes. They're not super fresh eyes, but a fresh set of eyes on your profile, your headline, and your overall positioning with one clear, actionable next step that you can do like in a day, in less than a day. Sometimes it's just a 5-minute change, like, hey, change your headline. No strings attached. Listen, this is about clarity. There's no sales pitch, no pressure ever, just an honest look at what's working and what isn't. I'm going to drop my booking link for this meeting in the comments below, or you can take a look at my booking link on LinkedIn as well. But feel free to do that. Just tell me why you're meeting with me. Say, I want the LinkedIn profile review, and it's usually 15-20 minutes. And then send me your LinkedIn URL for your profile. Okay? Do those things for you. Do those things for me, and we'll get on a call and I'll help you figure this out and how you can improve it. All right? We'll talk to you soon.